And welcome back, everyone, to Week 6, Day 1 of the UKLC. I'm Maurits Chronicler Milse, joined by not Jake Hibrey Matthews, he took off, but instead the lovely then Orcs Harrison.
Yeah, we actually had some issues with Jake, so you're not going to see him again for some time. You know, sometimes these things happen. People make mistakes. Yeah.
Oh, what's happening here? Oh no, we might have a little bit of a kerfuffle on our hands.
God.
I'm
Hello?
going to come real close so you can hear me. Not going to see me again, are we?
That wasn't me. I didn't say that. I know what you're talking about.
Thank you, Jake. Oh man, that was not threatening at all. I hope you feel all right.
I feel intimidated in the workplace.
I can imagine.
You know, I'm going to submit a complaint.
I can understand, man. I mean, Jake, he looked like he could beat you up. Not going to lie.
He's hard.
And yeah, after that riveting game that we just saw.
Yeah, I mean, I was sitting that one out, and I was like, you know, it's Bulldogs versus XL. It's probably going to be pretty one-sided. It wasn't. I mean, it was just the highest level of League of Legends. Bit of sarcasm there, but it was just a really fun game to watch.
It did feel to me, at least, like one of the most competitive games that we've seen today.
Yeah, which considering one of these teams is sort of in the playoffs run and one is on 1 point,
is kind of surprising, but. Enough about that game. The game that we're going to be seeing next is Phelan taking on Darkspawn here. And we have a kind of a thread running through our casting that a lot of teams, they just want to keep their playoff dreams alive and they want to stay out of the relegation zone. If you're in the bottom two, then it's not looking good for you. And Phelan and Darkspawn, both in a similar position there.
Yeah, I mean, playoffs are still technically possible, but it's quite a pipe dream for both these teams. But relegation definitely could be on the cards. Darkspawn are currently in the position that would get relegated if we ended right now, so they definitely want to gain some points. One big thing to note is that Phelan have made a substitution. Their usual top laner, Aragon, isn't playing, and they are playing with their sub-mid laner, BB Muffin, in the top lane instead. So they have been practicing with him, but obviously not ideal situations when you're playing with a mid laner top, and I think prior to that, I definitely would have said this is Phelan favored, but that might be enough to tip it into Darkspawn's favor.
Definitely, and you know, people who base their name based on characters from Brooks always have a little bit of an edge, in my opinion.
Yeah. Any bias for that?
Yeah, maybe. You know,
maybe a little bit.
Maybe just a little bit. And without further ado, we'll get into pick and bans here as the Nocturne gets taken away. Early on today, wasn't the greatest performance on the Nocturne. Fnatic having a little bit of a rough go at it.
I mean, a lot of teams are prioritizing it. You can obviously understand the impact it can have. It's just the execution's feeling a bit lacking, but we do see the Yorick taking off the cards, and did that win earlier? Is that because if it did, it's still 100% win rate?
I'm inclined to say
yes, it did because it was against the Kale. Yeah,
exactly.
So it's still 100% win rate.
I have trouble remembering that because we never saw Kill. Like at the beginning, we saw Kill face off against Yorick, but then the rest of the game was just Zed coming in,
absolutely,
and coming in. And having a very unfortunate ending for Kill. There's Draven and Silence gets taken away, so a lot of early game power getting taken away by Phelan.
The Draven is a specialty. Flirt has had that great game on that where he had a massive performance, but everything else just seems to be targeting those power picks we've seen. And now over to Phelan to see what they'll prioritize. The Jarvan is available as an option, and it's the burdens on them. But the interesting thing is having BB Muff in the top lane, I would lean towards putting him on a mage. And we know that Vlad is available as well. I'm not sure I'd pick it this early.
I don't mind.
But they do. No. Yeah, why not?
I think Vlad is just the threat that he poses in these mid to late game team fights. Like, there are teams that, again, I come from the Benelux, so I always relate everything back to that because it's easy for me. There's just a couple of teams that if you play Vlad well, you just need to permaban it. Because if that champion gets, it's like Ryze, but I feel like Vlad is even stronger at this point in time. And we see, well, what does well with late game scaling? It's early game aggression.
Yeah, and I like to see something from, because PFI has tended to play things like the Sejuani and the Gragas, which have decent early pressure, but not the most. We won't talk about picks, hovers, sorry. But yeah, so the Sejuani sort of had like a limited amount of early pressure, but he has made an impact. So seeing him pick up something like the Elise, which I'm assuming is going in the jungle is pretty good. And then Flirt getting that Calista. Like we said, he likes to play the Draven, he likes these high mechanical AD carries, he likes to make pressure early. But that's definitely something I could see getting punished by the Vlad. You flash on the Calista, pop your combo.
Yeah, what you going to do? Not that much. Point and click is pretty easy when it comes to these late game team fights. I wouldn't mind to see the Thresh picked away here from Phelan, but it looks like instead they will be going for the Brom. Thus far, Thresh Kalista hasn't really had the greatest of performances. Still feel like that is a very powerful lane.
I mean, I'm salty opinion, but Braum has seen a very rise in priority because it's always been on the table, but this week in particular, it seems like it's just become such a dominant pick that people have been taking.
Kasing did so well against the Zoe late game, because early game it was kind of rough, but then once that Unbreakable became always readily available, and once they really started grouping, I don't think that we saw a lot of damage actually come through just because of the positioning from Kasing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, credit to him. There's a reason he was in the LEC.
Yeah.
And we do see Soft picking up the Rek'Sai. Interesting, because he is an early game jungler by all means. When I've seen him play things like Release It, it's been excellent. I like the Rek'Sai pick here, though, and it's going to be interesting to see how PFI and Soft go head to head.
I would love this. I would love that as well. I'm not that difficult, but hovers are never to be trusted.
Yeah, they'd probably go, well, if they go the Orianna, that's a Beely special. He does like to play these safe mid laners. Interesting that they opted not to go towards Zoe. So that is something that Beely really likes to play, and we've seen, I mean, Calwood last game was a monster on that Zoe.
Early to mid game was so threatening.
Yeah.
Like, that was one of the big reasons, to me at least, why Bulldogs just could always take priority with these objectives, because just moving into Sleepy Trouble Bubble is bad news. As the Rek'Sai also taken up there, so Phelan not only going in for the late game, Rek'Sai of course, ever since her buff kind of back into relevance, also played with Conqueror. I think now you mostly just go Halo Blades.
Yeah, Halo Blades, or there's a very big argument of the Halo Blades or press the attack. There's some people who swear by Halo Blades, there's some people who are like, no, press the attack's better. So
Always better.
Yeah, well, I guess we're going to see. And one of the things, because they picked up the jungler there and didn't take 80 carry, we'll start to see Darkspawn ban away those. Tristana, a decent matchup in Eclipse. Obviously, you're stacking up the spears, she's stacking up the bomb, and also the Vayne. I very much agree with that ban. I think Bulldogs would agree with the Vayne ban as well.
I think what we saw in both these two games is, well, first you have the Zed, who goes 14-1, gets MVP, and gets banned away the next game. And now we have the same thing happening with the Vayne, and you can afford to hear as Darkspawn as well.
Yeah.
So no surprise that. I love the Fresh ban, though, said earlier. I feel like Fresh Kalista is still quite strong.
Yeah.
That does mean that the Alistar is still available, which is then your other go-to option.
Yeah, Thresh Alistar is still a pretty solid lane, but I feel like there's more opportunity to sort of abuse that combo when you have the Vladimir, because if you flash in and pull, the Alistar can do nothing.
Exactly.
Whereas with the Thresh, you still offer that Lantern, you still offer some support when you can't see the Vladimir. And I mean, that's going to be my big point to watch. And actually seeing a Jinx come out, I like it. The range is pretty effective against the Kalista. You also have the Braum to protect you. And then with the Vlad, the team fight's going to be insane. And then the Vel'Koz might be a surprise, but not really, because it's ADM.
Yeah.
ADM loves to bring out his Vel'Koz. He has had a pretty solid performance, 50% win rate, which is only him. So he had a good game, had a bad game. Yeah. So we've seen it come out again, and I mean, that just screams to me team fight. I'll be interested to see how they round out the top lane for Darkspawn and Renekton. I like this because it says to me that Akis is like, look, I know your top lane is essentially off-roll. He's not as confident in these matchups. He wants to bring something where he can be aggressive, and I want to see PFI punish that.
Bring out the Croc.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, and I can completely understand. I mean, Renekton, at least, when it comes to early games, ganks, it's just absolutely devastating. Like, even with the Sanguine Pool available, I think like you're going to have a really hard time trying to get out of there.
Yeah, and I feel like Vladimir is a sort of champion where if he's behind, he feels almost useless, because you need to buy time, you need to buy heal for your ult healing to come in, for your empowered Q to come off cooldown. If you just die before anything happens, you're useless. But then if you're strong, it just feels like there's nothing you can do.
So oppressive.
Yeah, he's very much like a stat check sort of champion. If he gets ahead, really hard to deal with. So I think for Phelan, it's going to be very much, can they get BB Muffin ahead, or is he able to get himself ahead? But I mean, Intro Renekton, I think you're going to struggle to do that by yourself.
Yeah, and then we're going to be looking at, is the early jungle pressure going to be enough? But I think even then, that 2v2 still seems incredibly scary to me. Getting into that early on would be, I think, really hard, because the Vlad is just not going to do that much until he gets a transfusion, until he gets a little bit of points in the Hemo Plague. And yeah, if they can punish him appropriately, because I do feel like he's one of the big win conditions. But then we also need to talk about the bot lane, because the Jinx in of itself is also quite scary. Once she gets excited, it's hard to calm her down.
Yeah, I mean, Kalista, Alistar's a strong lane, but we saw before, if that lane falls behind, it really just can't offer anything.
I mean, it didn't even fall behind in the game we just saw, and even there, it didn't really work out.
Yeah, and then in the game against Fnatic, where it went down early, it just seemed like it never really got back into it. And Jinx is a sort of champion, especially when you have champions like the Vladimir, which are going to set you up, and the Vel'Koz, which will get everyone low. Jinx is so good for those resets, and I feel like it's not a situation, because normally we have situations where it's like, okay, you try and get on their carries and shut them down, but we have a Vlad, Vel'Koz, and Jinx. I don't think that Darkspawn are in a position where they can go, oh, we'll just take out their carries because there's such a spread. I think they need to get ahead early, and they need to start to crush team fights in the mid game so that this sort of late game hyperscaling team never really comes to fruition.
Yeah, because then you get Hemoplagued, you get the disintegration ray in your head, and then Jinx
one
bomb
rocket,
to
boom,
just rocket, and
that's all you need.
It's all got even a single kill because you know, like late game once Jinx
you get the speed,
really gets going, it's incredible. And yeah, with that, gotta say, Darkspawn, a lot of pressure on them. There are already a lot of pressure on them considering the position that they're in the tournament at the moment, and now also drafting a comp because Elise Renekton, yes, they're really strong early on, but if you fall behind on the Renekton, he's just not going to do that much.
That's my big thing as well for Elise. It's always, you know, you pick this champion because she's one of the strongest pre-6.
Yeah.
So you want to make something happen pre-6. So
dive someone, set up something cool.
Yeah, and if PFI doesn't make things happen in the early levels, it's really going to, I'm going to start to raise questions, how do they get back into it? I mean, there's still a chance of like a miracle shockwave, but it's not, you don't want to have to rely on that.
I like the idea of a miracle shockwave, but a miracle shockwave would require you to fight 5v5 against Vlad, Vel'Koz, and Jinx, which I also don't think is the greatest of prospects.
I think one of the issues as well with the Orianna pick is just you're outranged so hard by the Jinx and the Vel'Koz. The only one who's really going to get in range of you is a Vladimir, and most of the time he's going to be pulled. Yeah. So it's not an easy situation to deal with, and I think that range advantage means that if any lead goes over to Phelan, they're really just going to run away with the game. I think it's completely on Darkspawn to get that lead in the early game and keep transitioning it, because they definitely can, and they definitely can win this game out, but my hopes aren't high for them if they start to fall behind.
Yeah, and that's always one of the risks that you take. I kind of like it as well, as we see Phelan Gaming's lineup here. BB Muffin on the top lane, coming in as the stop, or I guess not.
I guess, you know,
there we go. Akka's on
there's
top.
Darkspawn.
Thank you very much. PFI, Jungler, Beely on mid, Flirt, and Vigo as AD carry and support.
Yeah, and the rest of the roster for Phelan is soft jungle, mid laner is ADM, AD carry is a Chew, and support Snuggly. So that is the full rosters, and we'll be getting underway.
As we move on to the Rift here for our fourth game between Phelan and Darkspawn. Both these two teams fighting to stay in the race for playoffs and perhaps even more importantly and realistically, not end up in relegations.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's just added pressure if you go down the relegations and the fact that you could lose it. Because, I mean, not every team is going to have an amazing first split.
And level 1 Brom invade, I don't mind that too much. Flirt gets tagged there, but it's able to walk out in relative safely. And they do get a ward going there, but doesn't seem like much more action should be happening here for both teams. Just go back to the jungle and take it slow and breezy. I don't expect to see another repeat of game number 1, but I don't think we had first blood until 15 minutes, if I remember correctly.
I expect it a lot sooner. I mean, we have at least
Rek'Sai. It should happen.
Interestingly, Soft has gone for Conqueror on patch 9.5.
Yeah, I feel like when Conqueror was still incredibly strong, I liked it, but now after the repeated nerf, it's gotten a little bit more dicey.
The thing is, its late game was the main thing that got hit in the last nerf. So its early pressure is still strong. So I guess maybe by taking this, he's trying to say, look, I'm really focused on the early game. I'm not going to completely defend the decision, though.
This is better early game than Halo Blades, though.
Yeah, that's the point I'm going to make. Halo Blades is a solid choice now, but let's see what he's going to be able to make happen with that. Both junglers just starting off on their blue, and they're going to be the ones to watch in this early game.
Yeah, indeed. I don't expect to see any action unless we see BB Muffin, of course, as you mentioned before, playing on an off-roll, and that's always something that can be a little bit scary, especially once you play, if you play against a big, scary crocodile, as Akka's is trying to find some early pressure there in the top lane. And we see the bot side scuttle not yet taken up, but PFI will make its way there soon. And not that much happening here as of yet, as the scuttle grab on top side gets taken up. We see some early trades back and forth. And like you said, I feel like the real question is, he does get spotted by a ward there, so Beely should be fine here. The question is, as we see Sov move into the jungle.
Yeah, just place a ward down on the rafters, but I think that's all he's going to do. Just getting vision on PFI, and that's a big thing, is that we know this Elise can have a massive early impact. But if you know where she is, and I mean, the ward doesn't even catch it, so...
Oh, that's actually might be really key here. Because that does raise the question if she maybe moved around the top side, where they don't really have vision at the moment.
I get the feeling that after the red, PFI is just going to go for Raptor. Yeah,
there we go.
It just gives it away, so it doesn't matter at all. But, you know, it was nice to have the observers show us the vision denial. And, yeah, I mean, Vlad started with the cloth armor and the health pot. I think that's actually a pretty good start for Vlad into melee matchups, or at least AD matchups. So, essentially, you just want to survive the laning phase, and that's the big thing. You just want to last as long as possible and get to that late game point.
And we already see the early priority getting taken here. Of course, Soft is in the vicinity as well, so that means that Flirt and Vigo early on already getting pushed in there.
I mean, that's always going to happen with the Alistar lanes. Level 1.
Just don't do that much.
Yeah, you're not a champion, really. You just have to give up so much pressure, and we should start to see them take a bit more now, but Achu and Snuggly are waiting in the wings, and Soft is coming as well. This could be our first blood.
Soft with the double offers available. Flirt and Vigo sense that something is wrong and are positioned very defensively. But if we see Snuggly maybe jump forward towards that minion, there comes the burrow. Is it enough? Flashes right on top of them. Vigo gets tagged there by the concussive blows. Is it enough? It looks like it will be, and first blood goes over to Snuggly.
Really good execution. I like the commitment where Soft just instantly flashes in. The follow-up's there. And Alistar's not the easiest target to take down in the early levels, but they just committed and they find the kill. And this is going to make things even more difficult. Just as I was saying, Level 3 for Kalista Alistar, they'll start to get some pressure back. Phelan instantly shut it down.
Yeah, exactly. The moment where you'd expect Flirt and Vigo to kind of get a grasp on that lane, immediately get punished. And even though the kill does go to Snuggly, no summoners were burned, it does mean a small early gold advantage here as we see PFI move up towards the top lane. It is warded. Muffin needs to be careful. Is he going to get tagged there by the Slice and Dice? The Cocoon does not hit thanks to the pool, but Slice and Dice still away. The flash comes in, and that's going to be enough in the end. And Muffin does get away with his life, but blowing up the flash there means that there's a lot of room available for PFI to go for a follow-up gank.
Yeah, absolutely. And did use the pool effectively, but I think just overconfident, trying to go for the empowered Q, step too far forwards. And that's a successful gank from PFI. You don't need to get the kill yet. That extra pressure from getting that will just pay dividends. And now PFI using this pressure advantage top lane to invade the blue side jungle.
Of course, equaled somewhat by the fact that Soft has already taken away that Gromp and has gotten away with most of the Raptor camp as well. But as you say, Muffin now needs to be careful not to get caught early on. An early executioner scholar coming out from Akkas to make sure that that transfusion sustain is not going to be too much of a hassle.
Yeah, which is a great pickup here. And interestingly, we've sort of seen PFI go for vertical jungling here, where he's really focused on the top side and Soft on the bottom side. This isn't the first time we've seen this from PFI. In one of the games against Fnatic, which I say one of them because they've had 3, PFI and Dan split the map like this for a really long time. And again, it was there where Flirt and Vigo got punished quite heavily, and PFI wasn't able to make enough happen top.
And we see Vel'Koz coming in as well. ADM looking for the place. Now they need to be careful not to get taken out 2 lower end stacks. Flirt gets tagged there as well. The concussive blow is on. Aku flashes forward, and that's going to be the kill there. Vigo needs to be careful, or he will fall as well. And there is a double kill coming out for Achu. Great roam there coming out from ADM, but now Akka's moving back to the top lane. But Muffin is now a level ahead.
Yeah, but even then, I don't think it's that big of a deal. The fact that this Jinx is so far ahead is a real burden here. 2 kills already picked up.
The plates as well.
Starting to get that plating in. I mean, this is the problem. This is exactly what happened last time. Oh, BB Muffin shoots his pool.
Gets tagged by the Slice and Dice, gets stunned up, and then it's a really easy Cocoon on a not moving target. Akkas picks up the kill there, and this is a snowball that we want to see in the top lane.
Yeah, but it begs the question, is it too little too late? Because they've gotten 1 kill on the top side, compared to 3 picked up by Phelan, and they're also getting this Ocean Drake, which is going to make things even better for them in these early levels. And like I said, this is exactly what happened in the Fnatic against Darkspawn game, where PFI, he split the map, he tried to focus top, they got some advantages, but not enough, and their bot lane got crushed. We'll see the engage coming here, and Snuggly's so comfortable going in here because Vigo has no flash, and then crucially, a step forward from Flair onto the traps just dooms him. The commitment there, and then ADM waits so long to use the ult until Vigo is done, and there's just nothing they can do. They were too far forwards, but also just great execution from Phelan.
Yeah, and lovely there that both those kills go to Achu, able to get back with his second buy and buy a BF sword, and that's not that great to face early on here.
I mean, look how Flirt and Vigo are now playing the lane.
And what else can they do?
So scared. I mean, it's the right way to play it, but they are so scared of Phelan, and they're already so far behind this Jinx. I mean, you don't have time to stack up the spears because the Jinx in a few autos just absolutely shreds you. And with the XP advantage as well, Achu's no doubt going to get 6 first, and it's just not a fun situation to be in for Vigo and Flirt.
And I feel like PFI is going to need to have or at least we see either Beely or PFI roam bot side, maybe a teleport from Akkas if they try to go and contest next Dragon. Because if they don't at least get more even here, I don't know what that Kalista Alistar lane is really going to do. As you said before, we've seen multiple times that once they fall behind, it's just so hard to become more and more relevant, but PFI still staying here on the top side of the map.
Yeah, and you saw Achu and Snuggly able to find a freeze there, so now the lane is in such a bad position. Look, Snuggly just walks up. No one's here, but they don't know, and that fear is what forces them backwards. Achu and Snuggly just have so much pressure because of what happened before.
And now Achu does hit level 6. BB Muffin takes a bad trade here. A little bit early though. There is the Hemo Plague. Tries to go for the duel, but that's not going to end well. PFI is there as well. Can he get it off? No transfusion available for him, and Akkas picks up a solo kill. Although PFI definitely would have been there if that wasn't enough. The tunnel makes sure that Sov gets out there. And we do see, I mean, a 1v1 kill isn't really something that should happen here. And BB Muffin maybe on the Vlad try to fight back there for a little bit,
yeah,
and
I think
it cost him his life.
I think a bit too much respect. Held his cooldowns for a bit too long and ends up falling down. This could be the way back into the game for Darkspawn because a lot of damage going down to this tower. Akkas is getting strong. And in the mid game, at least, a big Renekton is more valuable than a big Jinx. In the late game, there's no competition. The Jinx is going to take over. But in the mid game, this Akkas on this Crocodile will be a massive presence.
I think Renekton is one of the original champions that was known for like taking a jungle gank and then turning it into a 1v2 and then just killing both people. If he got a couple of items here, already up to the Kindle Gem now, and once that Black Cleaver gets finished, I don't think BB Muffin is going to have a fun time here. And now the question to me is that also going to mean that PFI, who was showing up there again, is now going to visit the lane that needs his help most, which is that bot lane? Because we haven't really talked about mid lane yet, and it's because besides the roams from ADM, not that much has happened there.
Yeah, it's just been an island, both farming up, both on these mages. It's a good move from ADM to have got that roam, but it's been quite slow. And now there's been a swap. The Dragon's off the map, so bot lane's are top, and now they're looking for BB Muffin. He might go down again. Yeah,
and even though we're not in the top lane anymore, we're still targeting BB Muffin. The Cocoon does not hit, and this time he will get away with his life. Also, the flash still available. We see Snuggly moving in on top.
But crucially, Soft can now start up the Rift Herald because they saw PFI bot lane. So that failed gank is really going to bite them in the back.
More importantly, it's still the Rift Herald has just spawned roughly 20 seconds, meaning that they can choose to either drop it for early plating gold, which is going to put them further ahead, which with their composition is amazing, or they take it slow, you know, and try to get a nice first turret bot with it somewhere as they pick it up essentially for free.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that you go for these ganks that you feel confident to look for, but the downside, even if they succeeded with that gank, the same thing would have happened because you're forfeiting this side of the map. And Flair and Vigo, yes, they're suffering, but they've been playing 2v3, 2v4 for the whole game so far. And the question you have to ask is it worth it? Because yes, Akkas is ahead in this top lane matchup, but how much is that going to matter in 10, 20 minutes time?
Because I feel like he's not that far ahead and he can just repeatedly keep taking down BB Muffin.
He can't just tower dive him.
Exactly. And then what does the pressure really mean? As we see another swap coming through here, so now Akkas is going to have to face off against Achu and Snuggly, and now the question for me is if he's just going to rotate back to top again.
Yeah, well, I think the big thing is a smart move from Phelan. 30 seconds on the Dragon, so they've moved in place, but I think actually Snuggly was looking for a flank, but I don't think you want to take this even 1v2, it's a bit risky, but the thing is they force Akkas back, and now they have control of the bot side, so that Dragon, that Cloud Drake is there, so they're going to take a tower off the back of that Rift Herald as well, and there's no real way for Darkspawn to respond to this.
We see Beely and PFI are moving down now, but with Akkas basing, I don't think they're actually going to go for it. Does decide to cancel here, but this turret is long gone. Not much they can do here. Can hold the charge of the rest of the Herald. But if Phelan decides to keep pushing here, then maybe not even that. We see Muffin facing a lot of pressure here, but thus far able to still defend the turret.
Yeah, uses his ult to clear out the wave, so pretty good play there. And although they probably still will get the tower on the next push, it delays them. And now it allows Phelan more time to get pressure here. The second charge comes in, and the Dragon is on the table if Phelan want to take that. So really good moves from them, and they keep pushing that advantage.
And they continuously set the pace in this game as well. Now the top lane turret, as you say, will fall here. I hope that BB Muffin does not go in here, does decide to be a little bit careful and need to respect the fate score as well, as the Cloud Dragon gets picked up here for Phelan. Second Dragon for them of the game. And we talked about, at the beginning of the game, how Darkspawn, they need to get ahead early on with the composition that they have. And it feels to me like they just haven't done that enough.
Yeah, I mean, that's the issue, is that you sacrifice your bot lane by splitting the map. You put all this focus on the top side, And yeah, Aka's got ahead, and he got that solo kill. It's great. But I just don't think it's enough. And now they're in this situation where they've had to start making trades. So Flirt and Vigo traded a tower top for a tower bot and that dragon. And in normal circumstances, if you're behind, making trades is a good thing to do. But when you get outscaled, it's never going to get you to a point in the game where things are better. They really need to start taking advantages, but I'm struggling to see the windows that they're going to be given to find those. Because PFI is still hanging around that crocodile, and BB Muffin, yes, he's died twice, but he's holding on for now.
And, of course, the Vladimir, even if you're behind here, I feel like, yes, in the lane matchup, you're going to be have a very bad time, rather. But in the team fights, once you finish that first item, the Proto Belt, the Rabadon's Death Cap, once you get deeper and deeper into the item pool, then you're still going to do just as much as you need to, especially considering how far ahead the rest of his team is.
I mean, all he has to do is flash and press R on the enemy AD carry, and that's enough to probably zone Flirt from the team fight and win Phelan out, because they have so much power. And do you see Darkspawn coming to defend this top tower? ADM gets chunked, so they have to respect that. But at the end of the day, all they're doing is negating the pressure from Phelan. They're not finding the advantages for themselves.
And with Beely moving back to the mid lane, as long as ADM can get back early enough to, with the plays gone, not even going to lose some plays there, just a wave. I feel like the 2v2 from Achu and Snoggly is still so scary that they can, as long as they are aware of their PFIs, they can just keep on pressuring as well. Do decide to go back with that cancel though. Nice move there from Flirt.
Yeah, nice to go for the cancel there, but I don't think that'll change things too drastically. But yeah, Achu's so strong. And the thing is, you need a lot of time in your 2v2 with the Callisto to build up the Ren stacks. I feel like you're just not going to be given it by the Braum and the Jinx. And the reason Braum's so effective in the Callisto is that as a Callisto, you want to stack your Rens up on one target. Braum stops that from being possible unless you focus the Braum, which is never what you want to do.
That's not great.
In that situation. So right now, where you want to shut down Achu, Snuggly's going to buy a few seconds with his Unbreakable, where you have to hit him instead.
I'm feeling not taking it slow. You can see here, they're not getting greedy for auto attacks on the turrets. They have some vision there, but they might still, if they're not careful, get lane gets PFI. Again, Darkspawn keeps doing this. Goes for the gank here, but there's a ward, and he might get collapsed
upon. There's a Rek'Sai coming.
Soph is looking for the play, goes for the Prey Seeker, but in the end, they decide not to go for it. Beely now making his way down towards the river as well, and this is still a risky 2v3 here. Aka's trying to get some pressure on PFI, looking for the cocoon, hits it on BB Muffin. Does he get blown up in the matter of seconds? Doesn't even get the chance to pull, doesn't even get the chance to flash. And this to me signals BB Muffin really underestimating the damage coming out there. Beely's roam, not even that relevant
I think he just didn't respect the fact that the cocoon could come out from the fog of war. Good moves from PFI. And it feels like Soph was down here to help, but essentially offered nothing there. Just a mistake from BB Muffin, but even so, Phelan, they get that tower top lane, and the problem is that at the start of the game, Soph needed to come bot to facilitate the bot lane. But now, Achu and Snuggly are self-sufficient. In a 2v2, they will win out. Massive goal difference in the top lane.
Look at that. This might actually be enough, though, because I feel like we've now starting to reach a territory where Aka's can threaten BB Muffin so much, because like the goal deficit at this point is just getting absolutely incredible, but the rest of the map for Phelan is still looking so good.
I mean, you've just finished the Blade of the Ruined King on Callisto. You're almost at 2 items on this Jinx. It's really scary to deal with, and the thing is, Renekton is strong. I would say that Renekton is the strongest champion on the map right now, but this is where he peaks. And it's only going to go downhill as these late-game champions start to pick up more items. So it's like Darkspawn need to look for team fights when this Renekton can just absolutely crush the Jinx. Level 12 to level 9, that Dominus is going to do so much. And that's why you need to find the lead, because if you let the game just keep going, that Renekton is going to become more and more useless. Because
there is still a gold lead for Phelan, and like you say, this next dragon, this next objective needs to be big. We see Aka's making his way down the enemy jungle, just goes for the ward clear. But if they're just going to keep giving up turrets like this, there's so much alien gold to be picked up for Phelan. And I don't feel like they can just afford to keep doing it, but they decide to still keep Aka's just in the side lane here.
Yeah, and I mean, he has TP, so hopefully, if the dragon gets started up, they'll look for a team fight there. But I feel like if they start to keep giving up objectives for any time longer, the Renekton, like I said, it's a time thing. The longer the game goes on, where Aka's isn't impacting the team fights, the worse it's going to get when he does join them.
And so we see this mid lane turret getting chunked once again. Will go down to the minions there in the very end as It's just a Cloud Dragon, but even then, Phelan are making the moves to go and take that away here. We see question mark things going down on Akkas, but by the time that the contest might maybe come through, it's already taken down, and now it's just up to Phelan to disengage here.
I like this move, though. Darkspawn are getting vision control between mid, and they want to look for a pick on the way. Phelan respect it. They won't get caught out, but it's a good idea to look for it. PFI has to get so much damage there from the Vel'Koz.
Spiderling's able to make sure that the Winter Spy does not find PFI, but in the end, it's another trade where Phelan take what they want and Darkspawn is just not able to find something. Akka's still off in the side lane. Yes, he's putting out a lot of pressure, but the CS lead at this point isn't really growing anymore, and the turret didn't take any notable damage.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Renekton isn't a champion like the Yorick, like the Camille, who's just going to take tower, and end the game. Renekton needs to be in teamfights to be relevant, and I feel like he's going towards that Spirit Sojourn. That is it. That is the point where Renekton is not going to get stronger because he just becomes a beefy tank. You need to make a team fight happen there, or things are going to start to get dicey, and you're waiting for Phelan to make a positional error to get back in the game. Because, I mean, look, Infinity Edge Rapid Fire Cannon is going to start putting out some really strong crits.
It's so hard to set up because I feel like, especially on the bot side, where you'd expect the fight maybe on the next Dragon or the Baron is spawning in a minute, we see so much vision being set up for Phelan. It feels to me like they're aware of this as well. As long as they can avoid a team fight with the Renekton being there, you know, they don't need to put a lot of pressure on because they are going to outscale definitely. And Darkspawn need to somehow find a way regardless to get these team fights, to get that hard engage that they're looking for. But it also feels to me like they're playing a little bit scared. They don't really find the engage as of yet, and if they don't find it soon, I don't know what's going to happen.
It's very defensive play, and the thing is, Akka's teleport has been off cooldown for a really long time, and it just feels like they're not even looking for a play around it, and I feel like you need to really make use of that Crocodile. I mean, we're just hammering the same point home, but it's so true. This Renekton really strong, but now he's up against the Jinx and the Braum and the Rek'Sai there as well, and this is a point where I'm a bit more concerned as to how he does in that matchup. You see that crit doing so much, and I mean he's not going to be able to one-shot a Chew, especially with summoners. So you're essentially just at their whim.
And Snuggly making sure that a Chew does find no harm, no damage done whatsoever as of yet. Akkas is looking for the play now. Vigo there as well, but without a Fate's Call to engage, it's too little too late. And yet another turret falls here as Phelan take whatever they feel like on the map, and Darkspawn is just giving it to them. And the Baron is available now as well. There is a lot of vision right now for Darkspawn, but with their entire ring of outer turrets being lost to Phelan, I don't know if they can even really hold on to that vision here for a longer amount of time. And yeah, if you lose the Baron, I don't know how you're ever going to get back in this game.
Yeah, I think the Baron that's when the game's really over for me. And by sending them bot lane against the Renekton, it really nullifies any pressure he was getting. He's gone bot again to try and push, but I think this is your best case for a team fight. Darkspawn wait for Phelan to start a Baron. There's no one who's great at tanking, because it is a full damage Rek'Sai, well, you know, bruiser build. So he will take a lot of damage from the Baron. So if they find a team fight here, they might be able to win it, but still, if they give the Baron over to Phelan, it's giving the game up.
We talked about the big shockwave earlier on. That's still something. Dominus getting activated. Spear of Sojourn now done. And if Akkas can dive into the enemy backline, get a shockwave on top of him, I still feel like at this point, Darkspawn can completely turn it around. But like you said, it feels like they're not really looking for it. I want to see a Flash Cocoon from PFI. I want to see a Fate's Call. I want to see something happen here by Darkspawn Gaming.
Absolutely. I just want to see them make something happen. And they might be waiting for the Baron to start, but the thing is, Phelan aren't in a rush to do that. They just keep taking gold, and they know the risk of throwing it. They know the risk of a Misfits Baron.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah, so they're just happy to hold on a bit longer. They clearly saw the Bulldogs XL game before. And
Barons are just so scary, like Orcs, let's be honest. Like, how many, over what other objective have you seen so many games thrown?
I don't think there is one. Maybe inhibitors. I think inhibitors, a lot of people like overcommit for them and they end up getting funneled into the base, but...
Is it as much as Baron, though?
Not as much as Baron.
Our friend Nasha, who is about to get started here.
I think it's the only close one, but you see, on the way pings come out, I think Darkspawn are aware the blue trinket comes, but Phelan aren't turning off.
And they need to be aware of the threat that Darkspawn still pose here. Beely is looking for the flank. If he can find a big shockwave, they can turn this around. We now see Akkas coming through as well, and Phelan completely respect this. There is a shockwave though on the Chew. Are they going to go for a fighter after all? Soft is trying to keep him alive, and now they're stuck in a rocket.
Oh, the big combo!
A great engagement there from Vigo. Hits the Habit Pulverize, and all of a sudden it's looking much better here for Darkspawn. And even though the Baron didn't really get started, that engagement there, Beely hitting the big shockwave, means that Darkspawn might be able to turn the game around here.
Yeah, and they're going to try and contest the Baron. Soft is still up, so Beely is trying to ward him up, but ADM is looking over the wall for an ult, but he gets jumped on by Akkas.
And Akkas can decimate absolutely over on the Crockett's looking for some targets. The disintegration ray does take him down in the end. And now we see BB Muffin looking for a play. The Baron does not get taken after all. BFI takes a ton of damage there. BB Muffin still looking for a way out here. Is the blast going to be enough? I don't think so, as everyone is there to deal with him. The pool will keep him alive for a little bit longer. But I don't see where he gets out. But they do respect him. They don't want to take the risk here after all.
I think it was just the pulverize hit was on the pool, so they felt like they couldn't risk it when he's that strong. And that was the window back at the game for Darkspawn, and I feel like they missed it. They went for the Baron, I got to respect the play, but then they just didn't find the execution on the back of that fight. They didn't all commit onto the Vel'Koz at once, and now Phelan, even at that catastrophous play from Machu, getting caught by the shockwave and then the flash combo, they don't lose that much.
With the flash available as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a really solid play from Vigo. He found the opportunity and took it down, but at the end of this, Phelan still come out ahead because they pick up this dragon. The goal difference is still there.
It's just a couple of kills. You're still facing down the barrel of the same scary team-fighting team here. And I hope Darkspawn are not actually going to start the Baron here. It looks like they're just clearing vision for now. Clearing some tunnels, removing some wards, although the Scott to grab ward, of course, is not easily removed. And it looks like a little sneaky ward has been spotted, though, but they just leave it be to keep the threat alive there. And now Sterix Gage finished here on Soft. Has only died once this game, but just in general, like you said, I felt like if Darkspawn was able to play that a little bit differently, if they were able to engage a little bit faster, they might have turned around. But now 3 Cloud Dragons, and Phelan just continues scaling.
Yeah, and I mean, the Jinx now on 3 items did so much damage with that empowered auto. It's so hard to deal with it. And with
just run down Vigo.
With the 3 clouds as well, such a massive threat when it gets excited. Vigo now, no HP, no ult. You've essentially just dismantled a massive portion of Darkspawn's engage. The cow shockwave combo isn't there anymore when the cow's off the map.
Yeah, and BB Muffin is also starting to reach a point with the Zhonya's now finished as well, where he doesn't need to be nearly as afraid of Akkas anymore. Don't think he's winning that 1v1 anytime soon. But with the flash available as well, yeah, you just, this is the point where you can't really use him more, and that
I
dominance.
Understand the frustration. He wants to force, he wants to find the opportunity to make the play, but it's just not there.
And it looks like he might get it for a little bit there. Flirt getting tagged out by the life disintegration ray. In the end, it's not enough. He is on the wrong side of the wall. Thankfully, Beely is there to back him up. PFI not having the greatest impact on the sleeves early on. Yes, Akkas is ahead, as we mentioned multiple times, but this far, Phelan are still in the driver's seat. They're not looking to go for a Baron here. Just use the power of a Chew. We see this time, though, Darkspawn is looking for a play, but can they actually find it? Thus far, they have been unable to. Akkas does have the teleport available, but still, they decide not to go for anything.
Yeah, and they're going to start moving over to the Baron area now. Again, I think it's risky to start up because you don't have someone who can tank it easily. Everyone's a bit too squishy, but by pressuring it, you can potentially find a pick. Remember that Alistar has no ult. He is a very vulnerable target right now. People often think Alistar is almost unkillable, but without an ult, you can burst him. You saw how much damage a Chew was doing to him. So really, both PFI and Vigo have to be very careful approaching this Baron.
Yeah, no unbreakable will means no teleporting cow, at least for now, and Vigo might be looking for some hack slash plays later on. ADM goes for a little bit of a rest there, needs to be careful. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I want to see them punish. I want to see PFI just go in there and try and go for a cocoon or go for something, because, again, ADM could just walk into an unwarded side brush, tag 3 members, and walk out.
Yeah, I think the issue is, I mean, the cleanse is still a threat, but the fact that they used that flash earlier from Vigo, that is the tool you want to use to punish him in that situation. But, I mean, they used it before. They punished the Chew, but they didn't get enough of that. They didn't get the Baron. And now it feels like they're waiting for that Alistar flash to be up again before they make another play. And it might just be a bit too late, because if you look at the side of Phelan, you have summoners on a Chew. ADM's flash is coming up soon as well. When those summoners are available, it makes it so much more difficult.
And once that death cap get finished, I don't know how you think you're going to win any more team fights.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
BB Muffin, yes, he's having a rough go in the side lane, but the CS disadvantage has actually reduced, as you'd expect.
Yeah,
over
it
the course
was.
of the
I think it
games.
was like about 100. It was 120 to about 180. So now
Yeah.
it's only 35, gone from like 60. And yeah, he's in a comfortable position just to keep farming up the side lane. And I guess
just take it slow.
Darkspawn,
Yeah.
they're waiting for a mistake to come from Phelan, but they don't even look like they're wanting to start the Baron. They're just poking, because Achu and ADM have a lot of range between them. And you can see they're just pumping damage into Beely and Vigor whenever they step forwards to clear a wave.
And at one point in time, you imagine that someone from Darkspawn is going to take a little bit too much poke, and then all of a sudden that Baron becomes an availability. You need to be careful. Snuggly there decides not to go for the greedy way back, and I quite like that. Don't think that would have ended very well. See Akkas again, and like you said, I gotta imagine his frustration as well, because he was so strong, but now we're starting to reach the point where he's getting outskilled left and right, and if he can't get onto someone like Achu right from the get-go, I don't know how much impact he's going to have. We see Darkspawn now trying to get some vision cleared here and maybe make a move up on the tube, but he smells what's coming and gets out there without even a hint of trouble. And this mid game is so inactive, and I can only imagine that Phelan are going to be very happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just getting later and later. Things are getting more and more difficult. BB Muffin level 16 now in a really strong position on this Vlad, and both the mid and top lane are building towards that Rabadons. It's really scary, and now the game's not really in Akka's control anymore. It's more in the bag of Beely. If he finds a big shockwave, that's the only way Phelan have back in this game, the miracle shockwave, because otherwise their 5v5 just does not look good enough to handle Phelan. They have got control of the Baron Vision, so they might be looking for something here.
Death Frost being set up, but with the Prey Seeker on, the Cocoon does attack Snuggly. Is he going to get taken down? It doesn't look like it. Stand behind me towards the minion. The teleport comes in from Akkas, but it's too little too late. Snuggly is taken out of this fight though now. There is the hard engage. There's the Hemo Plague. And BB Muffin comes in big. Doesn't find anyone yet though with the Zonya stays alive for a little bit longer. Are we going to see an overextension here in the end? There goes PFI. Achu
Shockwave's
is
there.
not able to find a kill. The Shockwave is not enough in the end though. Beely wants to chain, but he does not have the mana available. Fate's Call get used defensively. And in the end, it looks like that team fight is going to be just a 1-for-1 trade. It looked like so much more may happen there. I gotta respect BB Muffin for going for that play.
Yeah, he went for the big engage. And they are starting a Baron. The jungler isn't available for Darkspawn, but they have members there. They're going to try and contest. They are low HP on the side of Phelan.
As you say, not a lot sustained. Vigor go for the Hatch Flash, but in the end needs to cancel it as Achu has found Akkas. We've said so many times, the Croc was so scary, but is no more as he gets taken down by Achu. No problems whatsoever. Again, we keep seeing so much action centered around this Baron. Is it ever going to go down? I don't know. It doesn't feel like either team really wants it at this point, as ADM still holds the mid tower here, and Phelan are looking quite good in this game.
Yeah, looking very comfortable. There was good points in that fight for Darkspawn, but they just aren't able to get on top of this Jinx. The Shockwave did catch her, but a Flash quickly rectified that. But that's the one key point here. No Flash now available for that Jinx. It could be the window back into the game, but you have to be able to punish it, because Achu just pumps out so much damage, and that's ignoring the fact that BB Muffin and ADM nearly killed the entire team, just the two of them. It took all those stopwatches to stop the entire team just getting murdered.
Because it was just Hemo Plague and the live disintegration rate, and
It's
everyone
so
evaporated.
much, yeah, and the fact that Achu wasn't even hitting anyone at that point, it really begs the question for where this game's going. Dragon is going to be secured by Phelan, and I think this is a safe route, is that you don't necessarily need to take that Baron. You'll just keep collecting these dragons. The Elder, when they eventually get it, would be very strong. Next dragon will be that Elder with 5 stacked. It's not the best dragons to have, 3 clouds and 2 oceans, but you'll take it.
Phelan will take it, definitely. Snow, you know, if you can pick that up for free, which does far they've been able to do with every single dragon, then you're not going to complain about it whatsoever. We now see Darkspawn moving towards it, and the backs can't be too greedy here. ADM has gone back, but he's the only one. The rest of his team is opting to maybe threaten that. The Prey Seeker makes it so hard to set up a dash for us, because we saw last time as well.
The Prey Seeker and also the Tremor Sense just makes it so difficult. You saw Vigor walking about since he back off, and I've got to beg the question, maybe the right call there was just to rush the Baron. Darkspawn instead look for the pick. I think you're in a situation where the game really isn't looking good, so you have to take those risky plays to get back into it. But now, you know, Phelan have bought so much time. Achu got to back, BB Muffin got to back, they're coming back. There's now Rabadons are both the mid and top lane, and there's a Bloodthirst on Achu. And PFI is almost dead already.
And there's the live disintegration rain. Nothing is left of the spider. We see a move on here, and without a jungler, Phelan might finally go for the Baron that they've been looking for so long. Akers is still quite strong though, and Vigo is looking, has the Hextech Flash almost available here, and the Chew is into this fight. We see BB Muffin going big. Is the Hemo play gonna be enough? Beely is still alive. They can't find anyone as of yet. Soft goes in hard on Beely, but he gets the stopwatch there, and a perfectly timed rocket means that a Chew picks up 1 kill, gets excited. BB Muffin doesn't even go down there in the end. The double kill coming through here for a Chew, and the Fade score is gonna delay the inevitable for just a little bit, but I think that Phelan have done it here. They've finally broken through the ranks of Darkspawn Gaming, and Baron is on the table.
It started to look convincing for a bit until a Chew joined the fight, and then it just completely swung in Phelan's favor. Only Flirt alive. PFI will respawn, but is nowhere near, and this team fight is going to go swimmingly. Well, I mean, this Baron's going to go swimmingly in the favor of Phelan. They take the objective, and they're completely in control of this game.
And now for Phelan, they just have to do what they've been doing before. Just play it out slowly. Use the pressure that you now get additionally from the Baron, and if you can win what was effectively, with PFI taking out the fight, a 4v4, even without your strongest member, you got to feel good going into the next couple of minutes of this game. Don't know if there's going to be that much more minutes though, because Phelan look poised to keep their dreams of playoffs alive, while Darkspawn need to give everything they have rather to try and keep that dream alive.
And I just feel like there aren't any great options for Darkspawn unless you get a massive shockwave because a lot of Phelan step up. I just don't see a window for you to find a team fight. Right now, all they need to do is push the Baron minions up and then just look to poke. There's so much range between ADM and a Chew, and a couple of skill shots, a couple of autos is enough to just zone Darkspawn with the turret. And they have to play so scared. Look how far behind the turret they are.
2 Ocean Drakes as well.
Look at the damage on PFI.
And the cannon minion helps out Achu, but I don't think he needs any help at this point in time. Takes that turret without even so much as a hitch, as we see that in the bottom lane, BB Muffin is putting the pressure on as well. We might be looking at the base from Darkspawn slowly starting to crumble. They're looking for an engagement here. Vigo has the regular flash available now, and Flirt is there as well. Beely, we keep talking about these big shockwaves, but if there's 2 Baron up cannon minions and a Jinx hammering away with your base, what can you really do?
Yeah, I mean, they need to look for an engage now. It's literally now or never. Vigo might go down, though. Just
looking like it's never. There's the engagement, and PFI can stay alive for a little bit longer. Ziggler goes in, trying to keep everyone alive. BB Muffin there, might have been off a little more than he can chew. We see that the Vlad gets taken down. Akers goes into the back line, but is that going to be enough? Because the Chew is still alive. The first inhibitor gets taken up. Akers, the Dominus, is about to run out, and I don't think he can stay alive for even a second against the incredible threat that is a Chew right now. They go for the first Nexus turret, and Darkspawn can do nothing. Are they going to go for the second turret as well? It looks like it, because there is no threat available. No more shockwave. There goes PFI. Soft goes really low, but he has a Guardian Angel. He doesn't care. And the Nexus fall, and in the end, Phelan, in a 35-minute game, take the win here against Darkspawn.
Yeah, and just a great performance from Phelan. It felt like they were in control for so much. Darkspawn split the map, but it wasn't to their favor, and it ends up going up for Phelan. The Wolves come out victorious, and this means their hopes are still alive for playoffs, and Darkspawn are just out. Darkspawn cannot make it into playoffs at this point, and they are still very much in the line of fire for that relegation. Them and Bulldog both on 1 point. Those will be the teams that are up the threat of the relegation after the split ends. The MVP at the end of that was ADM on his Vel'Koz. I mean, he had a great performance.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Perfect KDA as well. That's always a nice little touch. And like we said in the early game, it's just there were so many threats on the side of Phelan. And Darkspawn, we expected at least some more activity in the early game from when we saw them, but just on the top side. And then by the time that Akers was really relevant, they couldn't find anything.
Yeah, it felt like they got Akers ahead, but it's like you're against a Vlad. Vlad is always going to be useful later on. As you saw in that massive team fight where BB Muffin did so much damage.
Like him and ADM just blew up the team on their own.
And they just missed the point where they should have TP'd the Renekton in, looked for a team fight and tried to force. And in the end, they just fell flat. So, well played to Phelan, but a bit unfortunate from Darkspawn, especially when they've shown a lot of life in some of the other games, but not so much there.
No, because as you say, it felt like they weren't really able to find what they were looking for. And Phelan, after that game, yeah, relatively slow, but with their composition, who can blame them?
Why risk it?
Yeah, exactly. Pick up every single objective that you can. And very important, don't go for the Baron throw. It looked like they were going for it for a little bit, though, when a Chew got caught by that shockwave, because that made me scared.
Yeah, I mean, it was similar to that game where Diablos had earlier against Fnatic, where the game's very much in one team's favor until the AD carry just suicides.
Yeah.
But you still end up winning. It sort of gets your heart going a little bit, but ends up coming out pretty clean in the end.
Yeah, and our next match will, of course, be Fnatic Rising taking on M&M, and that's also going to be quite an exciting match, I think, because both of these two teams really need the win.
Yeah, I mean, if Fnatic lose, it's going to be very difficult. I don't think they can. It's going to be very difficult for them to catch up on Diablos. If M&M lose, they are this team still in the line of fire. They're on 10 points. They can be caught by some of the teams today who have gotten wins. The likes of
Phelan just now?
Phelan just now,
I think they can with a miracle run, they can make it,
Phelan
right?
on 2 points, I believe. So yeah, if they could definitely get enough if they manage to win out this next game. But you know, if M&M sort of start to throw, they might actually get to the point where they're not in playoffs, which is going to be a massive disappointment, especially when they've had such a promising split ball. It'll come down the next game, so we'll have to see.
Definitely. And on that note, I think we're going to go to a short break, and then we'll be back with the final game of the day, M&M taking on Fnatic Rising.